Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel and another Train Sim World 4. Well, I suppose it's a multitude of things. It's a Train Sim World 4 video, it's a Train Sim World 5 video, and it's also a Real Trains video. So anyway, whatever it is, welcome to a very sunny morning at Preston Station. This is part of the Blackpool Branches DLC which we've got for TSW5. But we got the news about Just Trains' new route, which also is originating in Preston and going up to Carlisle. And I know from having a good nosy around on the Blackpool Branches that actually there is a little bit of the West Coast Main Line going north that we can already take a look at in this Blackpool Branches DLC, and you might want to do this yourself as well. So what I'm going to do today, we're in the free roam. I'm gonna put a Gronk on the track. We're gonna take a look at how much of the West Coast Main Line going north we've got, and we'll go up there in the Gronk. And when we reach the boundary as far as we can go, we'll just see if there's any more scenery, even more north than that we can take a look at. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare that to real life. So I've got some footage because this is local to me. I've got some footage of what it actually looks like now. So keep in mind that this is the 80s. So what you'll see today, obviously in real life, is going to be somewhat different. But there are some key landmarks that have been depicted in the Blackpool Branches and this little tiny section of the West Coast Main Line North that you will recognise. And if you're not from this part of the world, I'm hoping that's a little bit of a special treat. And stick around right to the end as well, because we get to see something that is coming in the Deluxe edition of TSW5. So, enough waffle. Let's get a train spawned in, shall we? We're on platform 3 at the moment at Preston Station, and if I have a quick look down for the Class 08, we got the Class 08 Blue, we got the Class 08 Blue Crew, and we got the 08 744. I think I am going to go for that one. There's somebody whistling behind me on the platform there. We'll spawn the train right here. I am on the PC for this, by the way, in case you're wondering. There it is, 08744, and these two passengers are not allowed on there. Sorry, you can't do that. So let's jump in. If I can actually get up the steps, that is. So we will sit on this side so we can see the signals. Let's check the lights are on. Marker lights are on. Instrument lights are all on. Excellent. So let's put it in forwards. Now, what we of course need to do is go to the map and zoom in and just set ourselves a path. And this is where you'll see just how much of the West Coast Main Line we have got going north. So if I set the path and zoom back out again. So the other thing I want to mention, this little branch going off, this is the Deepdale branch. So this was a freight branch more recently until the very early 80s. As a kid, there were still trains running up this branch taking coal up to the Red Scar Industrial Estate. There's a big Courtaulds factory up there, so there was a lot of freight still going up there till the early 80s, I would say. Very, very early 80s, though. And then trains only went as far as Deepdale. We'll have a quick look at that as we go past, because there's an interesting story about that, which I will let you know about. But just past the Deepdale branch, you can see here, so here's Fylde Junction. So this is where you go off on the Blackpool Branches, which many of you will have already played. But then also, this is the West Coast Main Line North. And as you can see, a little bit of the West Coast Main Line North is in there. Now, I'm going to tell you, I've done this before. I did this right at the beginning because I was interested flying around Preston just to, you know, see what was what and see what I could recognise. So I've already been up here, but it's been a long time. So what I'm going to do is, if I can just hover over the correct track, and it's difficult on a controller, if I set the destination there and confirm, that gives us a path. And there we go, we got the signals. So we're going to depart from platform 3 and we're going to head out and we're going to see what we can do. It says 1.3 miles. Now, I know I'm going to spoil it slightly. I know that we can't get that far. I know exactly how far we can get. So I'm going to show you that, because if I go too far, I will get an out of bounds message and it will just give us a white screen and kick us out, which is no good. So we can keep the video going, I'll firstly quickly show you the Deepdale branch, and then I will go up to the point where it wants to kick us out. But then we can use the external camera to fly around and just see what there is out there. And I'll show you what it really looks like, as I mentioned. So, we're taking the Gronk because, well, it's a Gronk. And secondly, it's fairly easy to drive, and we're not going that far. And who doesn't like a Gronk? Hands up. If you're out there and you don't like a Gronk, you're a strange person. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So, it's a nice model, this, isn't it, though, this Gronk. This is the train maintenance depot Wigan on the side, which came with the Blackpool branches. We got a few Gronks in the game across various routes, but this one came with the Blackpool branches. So, as we depart Preston, Ladywell House, of course, over on the right hand side. And if you want a little bit more knowledge about this route and this area, don't forget, many of you have already watched it, but don't forget to go back and watch my What Blackpool Branches Means to Me video, which came out at the back end of last year, just when this route released. I'll put a little link to that up in the top right hand corner. We're heading out towards St Warburg's. St Warburg's is one of the key landmarks, the church that you see in front of you, and you will see that in the real footage, because, as I mentioned, the skyline has changed quite a bit in Preston since this, but certain things like St Warburg's will always remain. So there is that link to the past, and I'll show you that. So we're headed out. I'm gonna come to a stop very shortly so I can just show you the Deepdale branch. So if I just take the throttle off first of all, and what I want to encourage you to do as well is go on YouTube and just look up a couple of videos, real train videos of the Deepdale branch. And in particular, if I can get the right camera now, I think it's this second one on the controller. So the Deepdale branch is going up here, and basically it follows all the way down. See, all this is modelled. I know it's like for the distant scenery, etc. But what this does, the Deepdale branch, it goes under the city. I really, really hope that we get to be able to make routes ourselves at some point, a little bit like TS Classic, and somebody makes this route in its entirety. Now, what's going to happen here is we come to the end of the scenery, and there is a wall there that you can't get through. But referring to those YouTube videos I was talking about, there is a tunnel here, because as you see, it goes right under. These are the North Road Mirror Lane flats, which don't exist anymore. They dropped down sometime in the 90s, late 90s. But under here is a tunnel called the Miley Tunnel, Miley, the Miley Tunnel. Called the Miley Tunnel because it is a mile long. But if you go and have a look, there's some of the Urban Explorer videos where they're actually going down the Miley Tunnel as it is now. Pretty creepy. Good stuff, though. Good stuff. It's a wonder of railway engineering. But you're not here to see the Deepdale branch or the Miley Tunnel. So we're going to head back and we'll jump straight in. Let's get the brakes off. We'll keep going north. But that is the Deepdale branch, and that would be great if that gets recreated anytime. I'd love to see that. So, this area is somewhere that you'll already be familiar with. This is Fylde Junction. And as I mentioned, off up to the left there is where we go off on the Blackpool branches, up to Blackpool South or Blackpool North. But going to the right here, under this bridge, is the West Coast Main Line North. So this is where the new Just Trains route, when it releases, we'll kind of start. This will be where the first differences are that you'll see if you've already got Blackpool Branches. So we're gonna carry on a little bit. Remember St Walburg's here, because you'll be seeing that again, as mentioned. You'll be seeing that quite a bit actually, and it marks the place where Foul Junction is. So we'll keep going. I'm going to go slow though, because I can only go up as far as the 3/4 mile post, and then we'll need to stop, because if we go any further it will kick us out, and then we'll fly up the rest of the West Coast Main Line. I'm actually amazed at how much of it is in, and really, I know it gets put in for distant scenery, if you're flying about or taking the camera higher up, etc, etc. But there seemed to be a bit more detail in. This is what made me think at some point we would get this route that is going to be coming out. So there's the milepost. You see the yellow milepost right there? That marks the boundary. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to stop right now. I don't want to get too near to that. It will kick us out. See, the magnificent St Walburg's is behind us. So what I'm going to do from this point, I am going to go into the flying camera, and we're going to go up the West Coast Main Line now, cinematically, and we're going to have a look. You can see the marker ahead, 0.7. So I put 0.7 of a mile, but I just want you to keep an eye on how much detail has actually been put in. We've got signals. We've got buildings. A few of the buildings, you know, I would expect when the real route comes out, the buildings will be a little bit more true to form. So around here, the buildings are pretty good. But you'll see, as we head north up the West Coast Main Line, they start to thin out a little bit. I also want to give a shout out, again, over here to Tulceth Mill. I've got some real footage of Tulceth Mill. Again, like St Walburg's, that's something that it is prominent on the skyline. There's St Walburg's, and there's Tulceth Mill. It even says, you can't read it from here, but it actually says Tulceth there on that tower. It actually says Tulceth, and even that's in. So a shout out to that. You'll see that again very shortly. But we're headed north. We'll have a look where we get to, and it's just so exciting, even seeing it in this state, which you're not really meant to look at, are you? This is just adder scenery for the Blackpool Branches. It's a shame you can't drive a little bit up here. It lets you set that marker though in front, as you can see, but it just doesn't let you drive, which is a real shame. I did start to drive it, and like I said, I got kicked out, and it was a surprise to me. I thought it was going to let me do it. But anyway, but if you know the area, we're now approaching Blackpool Road. And if we go over the top, this is Blackpool Road. So you can see that the scenery starts to thin out, which you would expect. Going down there towards Lane Ends in Preston. And the Blackpool Branches is down there. So we'll carry on. We're going to go through the marker that it's set for us. And if you remember, I put the marker right at the end of the map, as far as it would go. This part of the track isn't even shown on the map. So this is what you want to like to do. You want to get out exploring, don't you? Especially when you know where you're going. So we're passing over the Mill Lane Danger Bridge, which has a big notice there saying if you are over 6 foot, your vehicle, not you yourself, you can be 6 foot and be sat in a vehicle. If you're over 6 foot, don't go under the bridge. Well, or don't go under the bridge. Nobody pays attention. The amount of times that Lytham Road, which is the road there, has been closed because something has hit that bridge, I can't even tell you how many times that's happened, honestly. So, enough of that. We are going on, and we come to this bridge. You see the scenery getting a little bit less. This is Mill Park. Mill Lane Park, I should say, not Mill Park, Mill Lane. And this is Cadley Causeway. And this bridge is where I have come to today to film this in real life. So I'm just going to have a look over to the left. There's nothing there. But what I'm going to show you now, look as we look back south to Preston from this bridge, you look over to the left, you can see the city, you see the buildings. We got St Walburg's just poking up there. And we got Tulcove Mill, which I mentioned. So I am now going to pan like this across. And keep in your mind what this looks like. And I am going to show you exactly what it looks like in real life. Let me just pan in on the Tulcove Mill, because that's key. And here it is. This is what it looks like from the bridge, from the same bridge, but in real life. So you see St Walburg's are off in the distance, and you see the buildings of the city poking through there just above the trees. But then also, just an additional bit of detail, you see the floodlights there of Preston North End Football Club. So let's pan back round again, and you can see we're looking south now towards Preston Station. And if I zoom in just a little bit more, you can get a proper look at the real St Walburg's. You can see just how closely that is modelled to the real thing in the game. They did a great job. But look at Tulcove Mill, as I was mentioning earlier. Tulcove Mill is pretty much exactly the same as in the DLC. I'm pretty impressed with that. You can see where it says Tulcove there on the little tower. You see where it's written, and the chimney's there. But yeah, all in all, it's pretty similar, and yeah, I'm quite impressed with it. You know, it looks good. There you go. What do you think of that? It's not a lot different, is it? It's not a lot different. So, if I hop across the road, and the road's a bit wider than this in real life, but if we carry on, first of all, let me show you what this looks like in real life, looking north. So this is going West Coast Main Line north. Let me show you what it really looks like, and then you can see. So we'll start panning from the right to the left, and I'll show you the real footage. So as you can see, it's a little bit different because the scenery's starting to thin out at this point. The track work's not all done. We've got a tree right next to the track. But let's just carry north a little bit, and we'll see how far we can get. You can already see there's like a wall of grass, if you will, coming up here, but it's letting us go. It is letting us go. So we'll check it out. But from that bridge is where, once you've left Preston, you really start to open up the 87 as you head north. You could really get the anchors off, get the acceleration up as you head towards your first stop, which is going to be Lancaster, which is about 20 minutes by rail from Preston. And yeah, this is it. This is as far as you go. It's creepy. Do you remember the one where we went down the Leven branch in the 5 Circle? I'll put a little link to that. We did a bit of exploring down the Leven branch, and that is like this. It's all not made up, and it's just scenery. So that's as far as we're going. There's nothing there. You'll remember this when you get to play it, really. So let's head back to the bridge, because I've got something else to show you as well. And we'll just glide back. So in reality, there's lots of houses. Certainly on the left-hand side here, there's lots and lots of houses. And it's a bit more built up. The schools, my old schools, are on the right-hand side, just before you get to the bridge. But it's just a bit of fun. The West Coast Main Line that they're making between Preston and Carlisle will look nothing like this. It'll be so detailed, as you know from playing Blackpool Branches. You know the level of detail they're going to go to with this. There's Tulcroft Mill peeking its way. This building is a depiction of St Anthony's Church. You see the little sort of tower. Again, you're probably going to see that in more detail once the real route comes out. But for now, these are just buildings that have been placed just so that there's something there to look at. So let's get back to the bridge. And what I want to do is show you something looking south again from the bridge. So let's get the shot lined up. There we go. Oops, let's peer over the top. Let's get the shot lined up. And I'll show you a Class 397, which is coming from Preston Station out, heading north. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video. It's been a bit different, as I said, and you know, there is just one thing that I would like to show you, just as a bonus, for any of you that are picking up the TSW5 Deluxe Edition. Of course, as part of the Deluxe Edition, you get the Class 390 Pendolino as an additional loco as part of that edition, and as you know from my other videos, that is one of the main types of traction that runs up and down the West Coast Main Line right now in the current day and age. And just as a little bonus, whilst I was here filming, I actually got to film a real one coming down from Glasgow, coming in very slowly to Preston. So I'll leave you with this. I hope you enjoy it. Please do give me a little thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to subscribe. We're nearly at 8,000 subscribers. Can you believe it? But until next time, enjoy the Pendo, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.